This is what I don't understand. How does a non-Pacoima guy knows what a guy from Pacoima does in Pacoima?
So Spider looks at me because we go back to the juvenile side of the county.
Nip Hustle. Big shout out to SPI, Spotter Low. You know, I'm in the black box. Had to come through, tap in, show love one time. Yeah, y'all make sure y'all subscribe. Stay tuned. All that.
Fat Ho, Fat Joe, Fat Ho. What do you know? We ain't the only one that recognize the lies. We can hear it in your voice. We can see it in your eyes. You got them knock knees. We can see it in your size. You ain't never been a threat to nobody, violence-wise. Y'all see the title, man. This ought to be a good one. With no further ado, let's see what Fat Joe's Lion Lips have been up to.
The whole gym. Like 70 kids without a gun. Like, yo, everybody give me your coats, give me your wallet. Didn't even carry it. Some of the guys I robbed had to help me carry the stuff with them.
Welcome to the Gossip Channel. Thank you for joining us on this journey. We're growing with you and because of you. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell to help us reach 1,000 subscribers. Once we hit that milestone, a special prize will be waiting for you. Stay tuned. And now, let's get into the topic. One thing.
They gonna have a special prize for everybody? Count me in, homie. Oh, my mama, I like prizes.
Fat Joe is best known for is his wild hip-hop storytelling. He always got some jaw-dropping tale to drop, whether it's about himself or someone else. But over the years, people started noticing that a lot of those so-called legendary stories might just be straight up made.
That's crazy, because I called one. His VMA Miami version was totally off. But we stayed on him so much, he started correcting it, cleaning it up, and being more honest in the long run. Oh, my mama.
Up. Plenty of folks in the industry have already called him out. Some even started clowning him with the nickname Tino. Still, you can't deny Fat Joe is one of the most entertaining voices in hip-hop. Fans love how animated and fun he gets whenever he flips into storyteller mode. But the problem kicks in when Fat Joe's stories stop being fun and start sounding flat out unbelievable. Some of them are so wild that even people who weren't around back then can instantly tell something just don't add up. And the perfect example? One of his most ridiculous and talked about claims. Fat Joe once swore that back in high school, he robbed his entire gym class.
Imagine that. A big fat knock-kneed, disfigured muff, and the whole gym. So basically he telling us, yo, New York is that pussy? The whole entire New York? Yo, word? Say word.
Not a few kids, but the whole gym. According to him, that was around 70 students. And the craziest part, he said he pulled it off without even using a weapon. Just walked in and somehow scared 70 teenagers into...
But all them New York niggas walking around razors in their mouth, huh? They just let you do that.
Handing over all their stuff. As if that wasn't crazy enough, Fat Joe even claimed he couldn't carry everything he stole. So some of the very kids he was robbing actually helped him haul the loot out. Now that's the part that really made people stop and say, wait, what? Content creator Will Mills even spoke on it, echoing exactly what everyone else was already thinking. He broke it down, saying the whole story just sounds way too unrealistic. First off, the setting, most likely a gym somewhere in the Bronx, would have been way too busy and chaotic for somebody to pull that off without getting caught.
And there saw Juice and then put the juice on steroids and applied it to himself. This is what Whole No Hunter does often. This is how we ended up in the juvenile side of the county together. Just lying. You dig lies on my mama.
Then there's the number, 70 students, and somehow not one person fought back or even questioned what was happening.
Hey, you know these is majority black students, y'all. So imagine that too.
They all just stood there and let it slide? Will Mills even tried giving Joe the benefit of the doubt, saying maybe he did rob a couple kids back then, like 1 or 2. That part seems believable enough.
Maybe he was walking down the street from his high school to the elementary school.
But 70 all by himself? And on top of that, getting help from the same people he just jacked? That's where the whole story completely collapses. And of course, that's just one.
He got that from Biggie, Sky's the Limit. Now they give me lunch, cookies at lunch, and butter crunch and chocolate milks and shit. He got that from Biggie.
Example, Fat Joe has dropped plenty of other stories that make people raise an eyebrow just as high, starting with the one about Tupac. Back in 1995, Joe was on the radio talking about the infamous East Coast versus West Coast.
Okay, so the big fat knock-kneed Puerto Rican was robbing black kids in the gym by the dozens, and I mean dozens, multiple dozens, 6 or 7 of them at a time. And then when they was in jail, the Puerto Ricans was pressing on the blacks where they had to call out the Fat Joe. So look how Fat Joe is trying to position himself as a Puerto Rican, his people amongst the blacks, just marking us out all through the years. That's crazy.
During that broadcast, he claimed his words stirred up tension with Puerto Rican inmates who were supposedly loyal to him. According to Joe, Tupac somehow got wind of all this from behind bars.
And then I reacted to that story, and I said it was Bush. And you queerdos in my comments, somebody from the Outlaws. I wouldn't give a who said it, nigga. I'm not buying it. Oh, my mama. Rest in peace to my nigga Noble, though.
And personally called him from prison, asking for help with a Puerto Rican inmate who was supposedly giving Pac trouble. Joe claimed that he and Pac had a full conversation, cleared the air, and that there was never any bad blood between them. He even said he sent word to his guy, Charlie Rock LD, telling him to look out for Pac while he was locked up. But in a recent interview, Tupac's cousin, William Lease, completely shut that down. He admitted Fat Joe had pull with his Puerto Rican people, but the idea that Pac ever needed Joe's help in prison, he said that just didn't make sense. According to Lisa, the people running the New York State prison where Tupac was locked up were folks who actually knew him and had love for him. Pac wasn't in some spot where people could just walk all over him. If anything, he was surrounded by solid individuals who had his back from the very start.
And he was a fool. On top of that,
Lease even said that when Pac first arrived, there were already people waiting with care packages, ready to hold him down. And the wild part? Pac didn't even want their help. Hussein also made it clear that the only reason Tupac got pulled out of general population and put in segregation was because of his ties to those powerful figures.
So I think Hussein's the person they be quoting, and I never went to actually hear what he said. But that's why I don't even pay attention to the comments to talk about what he said, because it sounds like he not saying what they said he said. Sound like he not agreeing with it either. I might need to tap in and have a conversation with Fatal. Shout out Fatal. Oh, my mama. We used to be in Johnny J's studio together, the Interscope studio. Oh, God, he had a gang of records up in there. Heard a gang of unreleased Tupac stuff that still ain't been against us. He died. It's just all going to be, damn, that's crazy.
Prison officials didn't want any incidents breaking out, so they separated him. So the idea that some random Puerto Rican inmate had Pac so pressed that he needed to call Fat Joe for backup, that just doesn't add up at all. And that's not the only time Joe got caught stretching the truth. Another major lie that's been exposed was about Big Pun. For years, Fat Joe publicly claimed he was the one taking care of Big Pun's wife and family. Well, according to Gangugu Roach, a man who specializes in helping artists and their families recover lost publishing money, royalties, and hidden earnings, that couldn't be further from the truth. Gangu revealed that he actually had to drag Fat Joe to court on behalf of Big Pun's wife after uncovering that Joe had been pocketing Pun's royalties for 14 years straight.
All his lies in some way or another are giving him congratulations and a pat on his back. He's insecure. He wants to be something he isn't, just like Hold On Honey, Whack McElroy, that is.
He claimed Joe was generating fake royalty statements and even working with Jellybean Benitez to send those bogus reports to Pun's wife. And get this, according to Gangu, Pun's wife had already gone through multiple lawyers before him, but none of them could get her the justice she deserved.
Somebody told him that Gilligan hat looked cool on him. It don't. He looked like a buckethead Gilligan fool.
When Gangu finally stepped in, he was able to take Fat Joe to court and put the truth out in the open. And this is where Fat Joe's lies really start to stack up. Not only did he claim he was giving Pun's wife money, when in reality she never saw a dime, but he also went on interviews swearing there was never even a court case, when there absolutely was. Gangu said he couldn't believe how easily people bought into Joe's stories. He also revealed that when a Big Pun movie was being planned, the producers actually wanted Fat Joe involved, hoping his influence and industry ties could help push the film forward. But according to Gangu, Joe allegedly refused to help with the...
Wow, hating ass. That would have been a big movie too. I can speak from somebody way over here. That would have translated to interest, bro. Everybody would have ate that up, want to see the Big Pun movie. Oh, mama.
Film unless Pun's wife went public and said he never stole from her. Of course, she refused, because he did steal from her. At this point, Fat Joe isn't just looking like a liar, he's looking like a thief too. And somehow, people still eat up his stories like they're gospel truth. Another wild example of Joe's shaky, ever-changing storytelling came from a bold claim he made about none other than the notorious B.I.G. In 2023, Joe sat down on Cam Capone's platform and dropped what he thought was going to be a mind-blowing revelation. Joe claimed that back in the day, he and Biggie actually recorded a whole project together, an album with 8 to 10 songs locked in the vault.
I wonder how I feel just to be known as a liar. I've been telling y'all he was a liar. I was the one that lit the fire. I can't think of nobody before me, bro. I've been telling y'all he been a liar for years, way before this wave. Oh, my mama.
According to him, the reason nobody's ever heard it is because the project got scrapped and most likely destroyed. Why? Because the tracks were supposedly way too disrespectful, loaded with disses aimed at Tupac. Now, on the surface, that almost sounds believable. Joe and Biggie did have a relationship. They were both New York guys, moving in the same scene and showing mutual respect. So at first glance, people were like, okay, maybe. But once fans really started digging, things didn't add up at all, especially when compared to Joe's own past statements. Let's rewind to September 2018. Fat Joe sat down on Vlad TV, and when Biggie's name came up, he told a very different story. Back then, Joe claimed they had been working on an album, but only managed to record 4 songs before it all fell apart. He even added that Puff Daddy and the Hitmen were producing the project. But then things got even messier. In March 2021, Joe went live with Swizz Beatz and Timbaland during the Verzuz hype, and suddenly the story switched up again. This time, he said he and Biggie had done 5 tracks together instead. And then comes Lil Cease.
4 or 5, come on, man, you splitting hairs there. Oh, my mama.
One of Biggie's closest people. In December 2021, Cease pulled up on Vlad TV and dropped some serious insight on how Big really felt about the East Coast versus West Coast beef. According to Cease, Biggie hated the idea of feeding into the drama. He made it crystal clear to his junior MAFIA crew that dissing Tupac was a line they were never to cross. He told them straight up, if any of you record a diss track, I'm done with you. That says everything about where Big's head was at. He wanted to focus on music, not petty beef. So if he was that strict with his own crew, why would he suddenly flip?
Man, that was such a wise mind frame. I was so naive and clueless. Who would have knew? Man, dissing, waste of time. Say that to the other end of your career, like Kendrick did. Oh, wow, wow, wow. Shh.
And record a whole album of diss tracks with Fat Joe. Then in January 2022, Cease popped up again, this time on The Art of Dialogue, and directly addressed the rumors about that so-called project. That so-called Fat Joe and Biggie collab project, Lil Cease shut it all the way down. Cease, who was practically glued to Biggie's side during that entire era, said he never once saw or even heard about Big recording anything with Joe. He admitted they might have casually talked about working together, and that kind of conversation wasn't unusual back then. But when it came to actual songs, Cease said none ever happened, and he made sure to stress something important. Biggie wasn't the type to go out of his way dropping full-on diss tracks. Sure, he might throw in a slick line here and there, that's just hip-hop, but a whole tape filled with shots at Tupac? That wasn't big at all, especially when the beef was already spiraling out of control. Now, there's this mysterious rumor floating around online that years ago a clip popped up on World Star Hip Hop where Diddy himself supposedly addressed the whole Fat Joe Biggie album situation. The story goes that Diddy flat out denied ever knowing anything about it, but here's the twist. Nobody can find that clip anymore. It's become one of those lost fragments of hip-hop internet history.
Like T.I. on the stand for 45 minutes in the murder trial of Hosea Thomas on behalf of the prosecution, where Hosea Thomas received a very, very, very extremely lengthy sentence. It's gone too. It's crazy.
Maybe it was real, maybe it never existed, but what really sticks out is this. Fans don't buy the idea that Diddy would just let a full Biggie project vanish, especially at a time when posthumous releases were making huge money. At the end of the day, Diddy's a businessman. If there really was music to be released, Diddy would have probably dropped it, unless there was a very strong reason not to. On the flip side, if those songs really were filled with heavy disses aimed at Pac, maybe Diddy shelved the whole thing out of respect.
Aimed with Pac. Why they don't spell his name like Block or Sock or Knock? Maybe it'll come out like Pac. Duh.
Or just to avoid pouring more fuel on an already dangerous fire. That's at least possible. Cuban Link also weighed in and cast doubt on whether any of those songs or an album ever existed. Cuban, who had his own history with both Biggie and Fat Joe, admitted Joe did have some kind of relationship with Big.
Shout out Cuban Links, my brother.
But he firmly believed the idea of a whole album was blown out of proportion. Cuban has called Fat Joe out multiple times for being less than honest, than truthful. And in one interview, Cuban gave his version of what really went down with a track Joe swears was part of that so-called Biggie album. According to Cuban, he, Pun, and Joe once pulled up to Diddy's recording studio where they linked with Biggie. For Cuban, it was his very first time meeting the legendary rapper.
I know he got strength with Puerto Ricans, his people. But as far as Tupac being in prison, Joe, to keep the Puerto Ricans off his back because they think that he got beef with Joe in the street or some. I don't know about that.
After the intros and small talk, he told Biggie to break down what he wanted for the track. Big explained he wanted a Spanish-flavored intro to give the song a unique vibe, something with that Spanish gangster edge. Among the group, Cuban was the only one fluent in Spanish. But being a rookie back then, he wasn't sure if he could really pull it off, until Pun pushed him to go for it. Cuban finally stepped up to the mic, and with Pun by his side, they laid down the Spanish intro Biggie had envisioned. Biggie loved it and hyped them up for the contribution. Then Fat Joe jumped on the mic to add his own flavor to the track. But here's where things get messy. Cuban claims that Fat Joe is now taking credit for the Spanish intro that he and Pun actually created. He says Joe has been using a snippet of that very track to push the story that he and Biggie recorded a whole album together. To Cuban, it's nothing but a blatant exaggeration, and he's been loud about calling Joe out for it. For Cuban, the truth was simple. There was no secret album just a single track with some collaborative energy in the studio. But Fat Joe's wild stories about Biggie and Tupac aren't the only ones that caused drama. In 2022, he sat down for an interview and dropped another bold claim. This time, saying he was the one who got Trick Daddy and Pitbull their record deals.
Yeah, before you get to that, let's not forget he claimed that Puerto Ricans was 50-50 in the creation of hip-hop. He's just a bold-faced liar.
But that didn't sit right with Uncle Luke, who wasted no time blasting Joe on Instagram. Luke, a Miami hip-hop pioneer, set the record straight with a detailed clapback saying, "I love Joe, but I find this very interesting because I discovered Trick Daddy. He did his first song with me right after getting out of jail, and he stayed with me. I also discovered and signed Pitbull to the platinum-selling Luke Records label. He did his first songs with me, and because I'm from Miami, I felt it was important to sign a Cuban rapper. I discovered him off battle rap tapes. Maybe I'm missing something here, but I've got the receipts. Just because you don't see me in every video or birthday party doesn't erase the facts. I even found DJ Khaled on Underground Radio Mix 96 and brought him into mainstream radio." Luke's clapback didn't stand alone. NFL legend Deion Sanders jumped in with his own comment, adding even more fire to the drama. "Tell him, hero. Sometimes they forget. Luke has always been that dude. He was one of my heroes and still is. Y'all have no idea what this man fought for. The music you listen to today exists because of his heart, his conviction, and his willingness to fight for what he believed in." After the backlash, Fat Joe hopped on a live with Uncle Luke to clear things up, but the explanation had fans straight up cringing. Joe tried to backpedal, saying he never claimed to have discovered Trick Daddy and Pitbull, but that he was just the catalyst who helped get them signed.
Look how the lies always patting him on the back, just like Holding On 100.
But the video told a different story. Uncle Luke sat there looking visibly confused and low-key skeptical while Joe stumbled through his explanation. Fans weren't buying it either, quick to call Joe out for how shaky, disjointed, and unconvincing his whole defense sounded. He said Joe only took his demo out of love for hip-hop, but even Trick Daddy had to step in on the situation, and he wasn't buying Joe's story either. From his perspective, the idea of an East Coast rapper like Fat Joe helping a Miami artist land a deal made zero sense, especially back in the days when East Coast and Southern rappers were still clashing heavy. Trick put it plain and simple, there wasn't a single Southern artist doing real work or building ties with East Coast rappers back then, cause they weren't even on good terms. So the thought of somebody from New York randomly picking up a Miami Brothers music, shopping it around, and helping him get a deal with no points or strings attached. Trick said he just couldn't see that happening. Trick's perspective made perfect sense, especially when you think about the cultural divide back then. A lot of people pointed out how East Coast rappers often looked down on Southern artists during that era, so the idea of Fat Joe suddenly stepping in to push Trick's music felt far-fetched. Trick even joked that maybe Joe was just being forgetful or straight up hallucinating things, but the fallout was no joke. The incident sparked heavy criticism, with fans accusing Fat Joe of downplaying and undermining the contributions of black artists in hip-hop. Many saw his claims as a clear attempt to rewrite history, inserting himself into stories where he didn't belong. And if that wasn't enough, Fat Joe has also... Allegations of being a snitch have also followed Fat Joe around. Even though he's denied it over and over, his attempts to clear his name only made things look worse. In one video, Joe kept insisting he wasn't a snitch. But instead of giving a clear explanation, he drifted off into random tangents and vague statements that left fans even more suspicious. And while Fat Joe is still respected in hip-hop, there's no doubt these missteps have stained his reputation for many. Make sure you hit that like button, drop a comment with your thoughts, and don't forget to subscribe to the Gossip Channel for more.
I been knew Fat Joe's a liar. Now it seems like everybody else is catching on. I don't know why it took so long for y'all to get it in y'all noodle. Fat Joe has a hard time keeping it a Google.
Google gang, straight legend. Google gang, SBI. Google gang, Google gang ain't here. You better keep that shit a Google when you mention me. First sign of disrespect, I'm turning Hercules. It's gonna be a lot of shirts pressed, rest in peace. Keep it a Google, better keep it a Google. Keep that shit Google when you mention me. First sign of disrespect, I'm turning Hercules. It's gonna be a lot of shirts pressed, rest in peace. Keep it a Google, you better keep it a Google. Keep it a Google. You better keep it a Google. Better keep it a Google. Keep it a Google. Google, baby.
Bottom line, love life, show us a blessing. Pull up politic and blow us a session. Spot a local most easty. No mistake in the station. They making them statements. We waking and baking. Word of the day, EC on replay. The marijuana-thon with VJ Keyway, BS and BS. Killing on the track in the black box. We never put feelings over facts. Bay Machiavelli, run me the bread. I don't get mad, I get money instead. I be high, you can tell by a nigga eyes. But wise enough to enterprise, you dig a lies. Contemplating with the Google gang, conversating. Counting coins while these cowards in the comments hating. Only thing count, my count getting another comma. I'm a magnet to the money on my mother mama.
Better keep that shit a Google when you mention me. First sign of disrespect, I'm turning Hercules. It's gonna be a lot of shirts pressed, rest in peace. Keep it a Google, better keep it a Google. Keep that shit Google when you mention me. First sign of disrespect, I'm turning Hercules. It's gonna be a lot of shirts pressed, rest in peace. Keep it a Google, you better keep it a Google. Keep it a Google. You better keep it a Google. Better keep it a Google. Keep it a Google. Google, gang.
If you can't keep it a Google, then don't mention me. Run a check through the set, I bet them niggas mention me. Red Bull and Hennessy, I keep the same energy. No matter on a solo or a couple homies with me. Tell them come get me if they want confrontation. I keep a couple shooters with me. And we right here waiting on shit to pop off. Take a nigga top off, you tempt me. All that BS, you can miss me. Slide down Century, doing about 60 in the gutter lane. Faded off yak and drop the pistol, hopping out the rain. I won't change, keep it a Google the only way. Mention me, I come out and play. That's on the gang. We're not the same. I ain't nothing like these rap niggas. Hanging with bangers, no bodyguards, we all strapped, nigga. All truth, no lies, facts over feelings. We ain't gonna start something we can't finish. Google gang.
Better keep that shit a Google when you mention me. First sign of disrespect, I'm turning Hercules. It's gonna be a lot of shirts pressed, rest in peace. Keep it a Google, better keep it a Google. Keep that shit Google when you mention me. First sign of disrespect, I'm turning Hercules. It's gonna be a lot of shirts pressed, rest in peace. Keep it a Google, you better keep it a Google. Keep it a Google. You better keep it a Google. Better keep it a Google. Keep it a Google. Google gang.
Snake Wood Net Hustle. Big shout out to SPI, Spotter Low. You know I'm in the black box, had to come through, tap in, show love one time. Yeah, y'all make sure y'all subscribe. Stay tuned, all that.
It's the homie Cook-Up Boss, goddammit, Cub Low. And y'all tuning in to the Wake and Bake Show with goddammit the homeboy Spider Low.
It was SPI, the realest nigga in LA.
Spider this bitch!
Spider Low, Spider Low, nigga.
Spider Low.
Spider Low.
Spider Low.
Spider Low.
Spider Low.
So Spider looks at me because we go back to the juvenile side of the county.
What's up?
Spider Low. Spider Low.
Shout out to SPI, that motherfucking nigga.
Spider Low, Wake and Bake. Better keep it Google, nigga.
Loke is in LA somewhere doing what he's doing.
In the words of Spider Loke on my mama's mama.
Spider Loke's gear. This is Bay Mac.
Nate Bud, C-Mac. Shout out my Loke, Spider Loke, huh? Nate Bud, on hood. It's a beautiful world. You fight me? Fight, crib.
Point blank, do no subliminal dissing. When I listen, I can tell you never been on no mission. Sticking to the script, don't care if I offend you. Neighborhood crib, the marathon
I overlook my competition, never seeing them. I done trained my mind that I'm going. You
You could tell by how I walk, talk, I'm a boss. A east side millionaire, homie, what you thought? My life is a movie. They can't get close to me. They mad cause they can't be. I'm everything that they wanna be. Yeah.
You are now in the Black Box with Spider Loc, Most Easty, aka VJ Keyway, and the Google Gang.
Let's go!